Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. How are we doing today, Mr. Drew?
Better than you, because based on your image, your house is slanted and going to fall over apparently soon.
That's living like a Florida life. You know, just been earthquakes and
Was there an earthquake in New Jersey or something?
yeah, that's what it seems like.
So yeah, guys, we got all the latest Giants news here to go over with you guys. We thought it'd be fun to do a new little thing here, because if you watch anything on social media, we all watch at least a little bit of it there. One of the new things is, would you rather have this or that? And then they keep on going on and on with, to see which one be your final answer there. So thought it'd be kind of fun to do that both with draft prospects as well as quarterbacks overall. So we're gonna have that little fun game here. Plus to go over some of the latest news coming out of the combine itself there, which is going on currently as we speak. Now, we're not going to do a full combine report right now because, quite frankly, Rob and I are not there. I want to make sure that we want to get all the information that we need to actually give you guys accurate information, not just BS we're hearing third party. So as soon as we can do that, we'll probably do it either tomorrow or Monday. We'll probably do a report on that for you guys there. But
fair.
like I said, just in case you're wondering why or not, that's why. I don't want to give things like, well, I heard of this from so-and-so. Like, who knows? Like, I want to hear legit things going on.
I think, Sanders still hasn't done a thing. And
probably not. He won't.
Cam Ward's hanging out with like 13 women.
Wow.
He's having a great time.
Wow. What the hell? When did the combine become a brothel for Cam Ward here? What the hell?
I don't know. Listen, this is all legend.
Breaking news.
This is all legend. I don't know if this is actually true or not. So, Cam Ward, if you're listening, let us know.
Oh my God.
That's what I heard around the grapevine of the
Rumor
brothel.
has it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start off. Let's do with the would you rather have draft prospect or draft pick edition here. So, first up, we're going to have you do this one, Rob. First up, we got cornerback / wide receiver out of Colorado, Travis Hunter, or star edge rusher from Penn State, Abdul Carter. Who would you rather have?
Ooh, this one's a toughie, but I mean, a lot of people are giving Abdul the hype after the Super Bowl, thinking like this is the position you need. But I think I'm gonna have to go with
Super Bowl.
Hunter. Well, not just him, but just because of the position that he plays.
Oh, I got you. What you're saying. Okay.
It was very important because they got all over the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. So now I think he's going to be taken a little too high. So I'm not the biggest fan of a dual position, especially in the NFL, but this seems like a talent that's generational, and I would take him. So I'm going to Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Okay. So Travis Hunter or Arizona wide receiver Tetroa McMillan.
Ooh, Tetroa McMillan. I think we'll have to go with Tetroa because we're talking about here Travis and actually no, I'm going to take it back because I'm going to take Travis Hunter as a cornerback, so I'm going to stick with Travis here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you on that one because we just took a wide receiver. It's tempting because I think McMillan's going to be a freaking beast in this league, but we just took a wide receiver. It's like you can't keep picking wide receiver after wide receiver.
And wonder why the wide receivers can't improve in this room.
Exactly. So, Travis Hunter or Michigan defensive lineman Mason Graham.
I have to go Mason Graham on this one.
Oh,
I know it's very saucy. It's very controversial. A little bit,
saucy.
But our defensive line, besides Dexter Lawrence, if you will, knock out on the edges, need some work.
Yeah,
need some depth. Need some versatility, if you will. And yes, Hunter seems like a generational talent. He's a dual guy. But 95% of these dual guys, we'll say 90% of them, don't pan out. Which they come out up with this big hype. And I want to go with a more sturdy, rock solid guy who's, 300 plus pounds.
Yeah. And he's a beast. My only concern is what we talked about in the show before, is that there's so many defensive linemen coming out that, you're kind of like taking a position you could get later on. And can you get a guy like Hunter later on? And that's the thing. You're taking a gamble either way. There's no right or wrong answer. Now, let me be clear.
Yeah. So my concept here is you're taking a gamble on. Everyone knows that Hunter's a great athlete. Everyone knows he's going to be, pretty good and develop some kind of skills. But he is not. He's a jack of all trades, more or less, than a master of the one skill. So I think with our draft pick and position wise, like, I'm going to take Mason Graham.
Okay, so Mason Graham or Ashton Gentry, running back at Boise State.
Oh, we'll stick with Graham. I'm a fan of Tracy. I think we're going to get a veteran guy to help lead him behind us. So, best player.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100% on that one. I mean, imagine how much crap Joe Shane would get if he drafted a running back. By the way, a running back with 374 carries this season and 220 the season before.
Talk about Miles.
Yeah. Like he's got low tread of the tires before he leaves the garage. Like that just
yeah.
That would worry me, honestly.
You definitely don't get that antique insurance on that.
All righty. So Mason Graham or Will Campbell, tackle LSU.
That's a tough one. You put me in the spot there. Do you trust the LSU tackles, Drew?
Be very frank, I don't trust any of the tackles in this draft to be a top, top 3 pick like that. If we're staying as is.
Yeah. I'm saying, but would you take them? Yeah. Would you trust the LSU tackle? So yeah, that sums it up right there. I'm staying with Michigan over here, defensive line. Sticking with Mason Graham.
All right, we got a Michigan versus Michigan battle here. Mason Graham or Michigan corner Will Johnson.
Are we talking later in the draft, or are we talking about when we'll be able to pick them up? Because we're
talking to 3 right now, hypothetically. Because if you start putting trade scenarios in it, you're getting way too many possibilities.
I think I'm gonna have to stick with Mason Graham over here. Like, Will Johnson's great. I think he's very talented at what he does over there. But now this is a need over. I think this is need, and also, what we need, best player out there. Like, yes, we definitely need a corner. If I take a corner right now, that's more of a need than best player available. So I'm sticking with Mason Graham.
All righty. Mason Graham or, and this is where it gets interesting, Jaxson Dart, quarterback at Ole Miss.
If we're talking 3, like, how can I go Dart 3? That is.
I've heard people suggest it. That's why he's on the list. I've literally heard people suggested that if the other quarterbacks go 1-2.
I think you trade back and then you try to go for Dart. Like, I'm still sticking with Mason here.
Okay. Mason Graham or Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami.
Well, this gets very interesting because I think we all know where I'm going to go with. I'm definitely have to go with Cam Ward here because we're talking about Cam. We've talked about him probably being the high ceiling guy out there. And he has a lot of potential to actually become one of the best quarterbacks out of this draft.
Jay's booing you.
Yep. Boo me.
Boo this man. All right. Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado.
Well, it's just the spicy pick. This is where I'm going to get booed a lot, I think, because Cam Ward.
You're going Cam Ward still.
I'm going to stick with Cam Ward because at the end of the day, yes, it's going to be flashy. It might be fun when Shedeur, becomes a Giant. He might be a little bit of a better quarterback, maybe the year or two coming in, but he also worked in a very good system. He's got a lot of potential around him, but I think Cam Ward has a higher potential to be a better quarterback in this league. Not to say that he is Cam Ward has a higher ceiling and a lower floor than Shedeur. So you're taking a gamble on him overall. So you know what you're going to Shedeur Sanders. You're probably going to get the 10th overall pick, maybe the 20th overall pick of last year's draft over the 1 or 3 overall this draft. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't have faith in him to be the best quarterback out of the past few years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Cam Ward with the higher ceiling that I believe he has.
I'm with you on that. I mean, if you want to win a ring, you need a top flight quarterback. I'm sorry. I know that every so often you get a Trent Dilfer or something like that in there, but you want to win a ring, you need a top flight quarterback. I'm not saying Ward or Sanders is, because I don't think either one of them necessarily are going to fit that category, but Ward has the better chance to.
I think so. And that's not to say, I think Ward's the end all be all. You have to just go with Ward and that's your final answer. We've said this a few times. I think you have to go with a top flight quarterback in this draft, still pick up a veteran to help kind of coach him along the way.
Yeah.
Not just throw Sanders or Ward to the Wolves and hope for the best.
Yeah, no. That hopes and prayers don't really work for quarterback development usually. So
yeah.
All righty. Next up, we got my turn.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
As we talk about picking, which would you rather have with the quarterback edition? And
this one's
taking away to Rob with the list.
Oh, would you take Mr. Cutlets himself, Tommy DeVito, cousin of Danny, nephew of Danny DeVito, or that might be all made up there.
We're not sure how they're related, but somehow we're just assuming there can't be any more DeVitos.
Both from Jersey. Or Jacoby Brissett. Brisket, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, DeVito's got to start on this list because he's the only one we got in there. I get why he's there, but I'm like, Jacoby Brissett. Why? I wouldn't want either one of these if we're being very frank here. We're definitely starting the bar low here, knowing that we got more coming. But
yeah.
It's like, I feel like Brissett is a better chance to win than DeVito does. But DeVito, you got the small chance that maybe he develops into a backup quarterback like we were hoping, whereas Brissett's on his way out. But Brissett, I feel like we're going to have two quarterbacks probably. One's going to be a young one, so I'll take Brissett because he'll be the guy that's going to train up and, teach up a youngin'.
Well, that makes sense because he also might be the guy, like we talked about guys in the they go to the National Football League. They don't play well, but become great coaches. And Jacoby's, let's be honest, he's never been a top tier quarterback, never like a second tier. Really, possibly a couple of years in his career, maybe half season, the third tier. But he's been a great backup. So he's probably got a lot of knowledge of where he's been on a lot of teams and picked up a lot of coaching tips.
He's got to have some kind of knowledge.
Yeah, let's hope so.
I hope so.
All right. So that being said, we're locking in Jacoby. So would you take Mr. Brisket himself? You think he would be smoked beef, pork, or chicken kind of guy?
Roast beef, definitely roast beef.
Mm. Gotcha. Anyway, we just take this. I skipped dinner, guys. Sorry. Would you take Jacoby or would you take Jaxson Dart?
Jaxson Dart without a second thought. And I'm not even a fan of Jaxson Dart.
I was about to say, yeah, that makes sense because definitely going to lock him up cheaper and you're going to have him a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and there's potential long term if I'm wrong.
There's potential, but there's not that much because it's not going to cost you that much.
No, and it worst comes to worst, he's a good backup.
Yeah,
I think that's where Dart's going to be.
All right, I'll actually say Jaxson Dart or Mr. Meteorocker Kirk Cousins himself.
Which, by the way, there's rumors that floating around because the Falcons have thrown out there that Kirk Cousins is going to stay on as their backup. I'm not buying that BS.
Yeah, that's a very expensive backup.
It's not even the expense. It's like, you think Kirk Cousins is not going to be an issue behind closed? He won't do it in front of cameras, but behind closed doors, yeah, that's going to be an issue. You're going to waste the last couple years of his career.
It's amazing because we actually talked about last year how much, or the year prior, with all the injuries to quarterbacks, that you're probably going to want to pay a little bit more to your backup quarterback. And
yeah, not $40 million.
Backup. That's a very expensive backup price.
Expensive backup. Yeah, I'm going to stick to Jaxson Dart for the same reasons I gave with Jacoby Brissett, to a little bit of a twist here. So Dart, again, has some potential for long term, and he's going to be cheap. Kirk Cousins, not going to be cheap. Probably played his best football. And on top of that, let's be honest, even when he was in his prime, it wasn't like he was, going through the playoffs and making an impact. Hell, Daniel Jones beat him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to stick Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, the only thing that Kirk Cousins brings to the table is a lot more knowledge of being on the field in the NFL.
And his bling.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he looks fantastic.
You like that?
Yeah. He is not Mr. Primetime. He does not have the knowledge of winning in high, strong games, which we've had that before. So let's stay away from that.
Yeah.
I agree. There's no wrong answers. So that being said, let's talk about the age and the beauty in the room. Are you sticking with a Dart, or are you going to flop and switch sides and go with Mr. Russell Wilson?
Honestly, this is a difficult one for me because Wilson is the better quarterback. But again, you got the age issue. You have the creepiness issue. Sorry, he's a little creepy. If you're going to tell me that I could take him and later on get a rookie quarterback, I'm good with that. But because this scenario here, we're saying who would you rather take, and you can't have both, I'm going to take again Jaxson Dart because of the potential. Whereas I think that Russell Wilson, another year or two, he's probably on his way out of the league, let alone starting, and he didn't look as good as Justin Fields did in Pittsburgh, in my opinion. I know they were winning with them, but I think Fields looked better as a quarterback overall. And then on top of that, you go into the fact that he didn't look good in Denver.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that.
Yeah, like I said, I like him as a bridge quarterback, but in this scenario, because we're talking about just getting one of the two, then we're going to go ahead and stick with Jaxson Dart here.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you're 100%, if he's a bridge quarterback, yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been and won very close, high action, high pressured games.
Yep.
He's also cringy as F, if you will, AF for all you guys out there. But he declined it. Like, Sneaky Pete knew something when he picked up Geno Smith, and everyone thought he was crazy. Like, everyone bashed Sneaky Pete for his sneakiness.
Yeah.
And he knew the right on the wall. Like,
he knew his time.
And he seems to be a great systems quarterback and not going too unorthodox.
Yep. You
go to the Broncos where you didn't have great coaching. He went downhill. He played better the last year, but not great. So much that the Broncos ate a buttload of money to cut him. Go to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Great coach team that with not a lot of talent around him looks better.
Yep. And
fantastic.
This scenario is very similar to what the Broncos did last year. Think about it. They basically chose Bo Nix over Russell Wilson. Very similar scenario here, taking Jaxson Dart instead over Russell Wilson. Because
100%.
Jaxson Dart is thought of as being like a second-round pick, which by most people in draft circles, which what Bo Nix was. Obviously, he went much earlier, but it doesn't make him a better prospect than he was. Just made someone reach for him because he's a quarterback. So far, that reach has worked out for them, by the way. So I'm not even knocking him for it, but
yeah,
that's.
Well,
I think it's a fair comparison.
Yep. Well, but once going back, so you're going to go back to the quarterback gurus over here and send Russell Wilson and see how he plays. So yeah, I agree with you. Dart, it is. All right. So you're sticking with Jaxson.
I never thought Jaxson Dart would make it so long in this game, too.
Right? But we're going to stay in Pittsburgh here. Are you going to go with Justin Fields or Jaxson Dart?
You know what? Honestly, and I'm going to get some poop for this one potentially here. I'm going Justin Fields. I think that, again, you know my thoughts on Jaxson Dart. I see a lot of Daniel Jones in him, and that scares me. Has trouble reading defenses, has trouble throwing with anticipation. Fields has gone to a situation in Chicago where most Jay's booing everybody today, but most people have failed. Let's be honest. Like, quarterbacks have not succeeded in Chicago. Then he goes to Pittsburgh, plays for a few games, looked much better than he did the prior years, and he's still youngish. Obviously, he's not rookie age.
What,
I'm not trying to say. Yeah, I'm not trying to say he's rookie age at that point, but you put him in the right system, and he's 25, by the way, but he's going to be 26 in like a week. So, March 5th, happy early birthday, Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's at a point in his career where if he's going to turn the corner, it's going to be now, and you have to get him in the right spot to do that. You get him with the Giants. Let's say the offensive line is healthier because that's a big part of this. You get him a guy like Malik Neighbors, and you see what you can do with him at that point. With Brian Dable supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. We don't think he really is, but you guys call it the quarterback whisperer. And maybe he's the Sam Darnold next year. A guy who went to 3 places, as I see Jay talking about, going your 3rd team by 25. Darnold was on his 4th team. And don't tell me the Jets and the Bears both aren't horrible at developing quarterbacks.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs the year prior.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I would take the shot because it's as much a issue I have with Jaxson Dart as it is with Fields. I just don't think Dart's that good. If I thought Dart was going to be a solid starting quarterback in this league, I would go Dart all day long.
Yeah, at least you know what you got in Justin Fields on NFL caliber teams. We've seen it for years.
We don't. I don't think we do. I really don't think we do. I seriously don't. I look at him and I don't think we have seen the real Justin Fields yet. Will the real Justin Fields please stand up? There's
a big difference between playing the NFL teams being terribly coached and playing in college being coached better. So with better coaching. So I agree. Like I think you're right here. I think Fields has more of the upswing. He's a higher floor. It's a safer pick. And you talk about not having a guy that's going to be your next 10-year quarterback. We're talking about who would you take in this scenario.
And I'm telling you right now, if the Steelers let him go, they're crazy. Unless they're getting like a Matt Stafford or somebody like that there, which because he was 4-2 guys as a starter. He should have stayed the starter. 65.8 completion percentage, 1,106 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's not too shabby at all in those kind of games. Then you throw in the fact that he ran for additional yards besides that. Obviously, he's got that flashing ability to run. He had just under 300 yards rushing in those games as well. So you're talking to a guy who's going to get you 800-900 yards rushing potentially, and go ahead and potentially have, say, even a 50-50 ratio TD interception with 3,500 yards. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's an improvement, guys. I hate to say it. I know we're setting the bar low, but an improvement would be just one of those throwing machines where you put the football and it throws it for you. Like, that would be an improvement of what we had.
Sadly. Yeah, and listen, Fields has used to run for his life before Chicago, so at least he's got a little head start with that.
There we go.
All right, so we're going with Fields. This one, talk about the redemption story. You're going to go with the redemption of Justin Fields, or continue to ride that high horse of redemption with Mr. Eugene Smith, Esquire?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Justin Fields. 2 reasons. One, you'd have to trade to get Geno Smith. And the second reason is the age. You know, I'm going to include a third reason. I still think you take him out of Seattle, he's not good.
I 100% agree with you.
And I'm not trying to put him down. A great story, you know, as you mentioned, redemption story. Like, that's a huge redemption story. Talk about a career that was going nowhere fast.
Multiple teams.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, with the guys, you know, like the DK Metcalfs of the world and all he has. Yeah. Yeah, Lockett, Jackson Smith, the Jigma now as well. You know, he had guys like Noah Fant. He's had some, I won't say like amazing tight ends, but he's had legitimate NFL tight ends.
Top 10s.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not. That's and then again, throw the age in there on top of that. I'm good. So Justin Fields, I'm sticking with.
100%. Justin Fields also never got punched in the face in the locker room.
We know of.
That we know of. All right, so we're sticking with Justin Fields. Now here's the comparison everyone wants to hear.
Yeah, I'm seeing the comment already from Mike Jones there already asking right now.
When you're talking about poaching from another team here, are you going to go stick with your Justin Smith? Your Justin Fields pick?
Is that like a Geno Smith, Justin Fields hybrid?
Did a hybrid there.
He can run around the football field while getting punched in the face.
Are you sticking with Fields, or are you willing to take the chance on a Super Bowl caliber quarterback and Mr. Matt Stafford?
So here's where it becomes difficult in this. There's a couple of variables that would affect my answer in this. Now, we don't have those variables, so I have to kind of guess what's going to happen. A, what's going to cost to get Matt Stafford? B, how much will I have to pay Matt Stafford because he's probably going to want a new contract? And number 3, how much longer does Matt Stafford see himself playing? Because if Matt Stafford says to you point blank, I got another year or 2 in me, I'm good. And he's 37? I mean, again, he could tell you I'm going to play for 5 more years. He has no way of guaranteeing that.
Listen, if you're about to sign a 37-year-old quarterback and he goes, I got about 5 or 6 years in me, you look at him like you're a 10-year-old car with 225,000 miles on you.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. It's like he's like the FJ Cruiser of the NFL quarterback world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The FJ Cruisers, everybody loves those things. They go for like ridiculous money. You can get them like $20,000 for one with 200,000 miles. It's ridiculous.
Listen, I looked into them 10 years ago, and they were already discontinued.
I know. It's insanity. By the way, they're making a mini one, I heard. Like a smaller version of it for off-roading. So that'd be interesting. But
that's what the original was for. But that's besides the point.
But that's what I'm saying, but a small one. But you look at those variables, and because of the fact he's going to want $50 million a year, supposedly, because of the fact he's 37 years old, because of the fact that the roster is not set up to win even with him, will we get in the playoffs with him? Maybe. And I'd say maybe, like legit maybe. I don't know. And if this is not going to get us a championship, then it makes no sense to sign a 37-year-old quarterback. We're not there. Now, if we were, let's say, a quarterback away, like let's say we went to the playoffs last year with no quarterback. Okay, I get it. Go get the quarterback, give it a couple of years, maybe get another one to develop to go after him and see what happens. We're not there, guys. And I know I've said on this show plenty of times, I don't think the Giants are as far away as a lot of people think, and I still stand by that. But what I mean by that is you give us a quarterback, and I mean just even a okay quarterback, and we're probably an average team in this league. You give us a great quarterback, we might get in the playoffs. That's where we're at. We're not the bottom tier. I think some people, swear we are, because I do think we have more than people want to admit because of the stars we do have in this team. We do have some stars. Not every team has that. What star do the Titans have? What stars do the Browns have really besides, obviously the one they're about to lose and Garrett, But Matt Stafford does not get us to a Super Bowl ring. And if that's the goal, the true goal is to win a Super Bowl, then you don't sign him. Now, if the goal is just to keep Dable and Shane at a job, yeah, go get him. What the hell? But if that's the goal, then we have bigger issues than a Matt Stafford trade.
Yeah. Well, so imagine a scenario, and so just put it in the comment before you get there. But all right, third overall pick, we get our guy that we want.
Yeah.
We sign Matt Stafford. We guarantee him 2 years with a third-year clause out, or maybe even 3 years guaranteed with a fourth year out. So you're saying you're going to play to 40, give or take, on one of these deals. Do you guarantee him? Do you have the conversation with him? You guarantee him 40 million. You don't usually like, listen, we don't think you're back in the back deal. So this way you actually only pay him 35 a year. Do you take that deal?
You're not gonna pay him like 35 a year. Because here's the problem you run into. You can't backload a deal with a 37-year-old quarterback. You know, did that the Jets. And look at the cluster they're about to be in with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You put the guarantee in the first 2 or 3 years with backload or incentives. And you're like, listen, this is a situation. We want you to be the bridge quarterback that's going to teach our new guy coming in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But we're in this scenario, we're only getting one quarterback.
I know, but that's a little side quest.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like I said, if you can get him at a decent price with it both trade value wise and contract wise, and still go get your quarterback in the draft, then what the hell? But I don't think that happens. I think you go get him, you got to pay him a ton of money. You have to give up something valuable. Maybe not pick 3, but maybe you're giving up pick, in the second round. And probably more. Yeah, I'm good. Who we got next?
Gotcha. All right. So we're sticking with Fields.
We're sticking with Justin Fields.
You're sticking with Justin
because of cost and because of age.
Cost and age. Well, guess what? The next guy up is a young buck. So are you going to stick with Fields?
He's already in Tampa Bay?
No, he's just like a gazelle, deer running around.
Oh, okay.
Well, he might be in Tampa Bay because he
plays basketball in Milwaukee. Are we getting the Greek Freak?
Well, listen, he might be in Tampa Bay right now because he's been in college in Florida.
I'm pretty sure he's in Indianapolis right now.
He might be in Indianapolis. That's probably right. Mr. Cam Ward himself there. Would you take Cam Ward or Justin Fields?
I'm taking Cam Ward all day long. We're taking Justin Fields on the hope that he reaches potential that he has yet to reach in this NFL career, but we think still is potentially there because of where he's been. Cam Ward is that blank slate. I'm taking Ward all day long. All day long.
100%. I agree. And we laid it out before. I agree. You gotta go with Ward. It seems to be like our dude in this scenario. But is it our dude? Because up next, you could also go with Shedeur Sanders.
I am sticking with Cam Ward, point blank. Like I said, I am definitely going to go ahead and get the guy that I think has the higher ceiling. And listen, I'm not going to be upset if they get Sanders either. Let me be very clear on that.
Yeah.
I will not be at all. But I feel like you can go ahead and get the guy with the higher ceiling. The guy is the gunslinger, which, what was the thing about Josh Allen they said coming out of college? Gunslinger, accuracy issues.
Yeah.
Makes bad throws. Again, we've said this in the show plenty of times. I'm not giving Josh Allen credit to Brian Dable. In no way, shape, or form.
You can't.
You're looking at... you're looking at a fact that you got a guy who already helped someone develop in some way, shape, or form. I'm not giving him a lot of credit in that, but he was there. He said some things. He did some things. He's proven he can. With a great quarterback, that quarterback can develop with him at the very least, potentially. So, yeah. I'm going to 100% say Cam Ward. Let's stick to Cam Ward. Let's stick to the higher ceiling. Let's stick with the guy who's going to be the gunslinger, and let's get it rolling. So, all right. Before we get into the other segments we got here, guys, let's go ahead and go through, because you guys are commenting like crazy, and I appreciate you guys. So let's go ahead and get into that. We're going to get past all the boos for Jay, who Jason booed us like crazy. Let's see here. Get to where Jay says it's so weird to see Rob talking this long. Football guys get horny. We see sidearm and different arm angles. Man of few words, kept it nice and succinct. What word is that? Is that I need to play Scrabble more apparently.
Yeah.
Succinct? Is that a word? We're googling.
Try to go with sincere. Is it autocorrect?
Yeah, no, it is an actual word, especially if something written or spoken, brief and clear, express. I have never even heard of this word.
Damn. Listen, you could be on my Words with Friends or Scrabble of Team anytime.
Listen, I did not go to college, damn it.
Yeah, neither did I.
I did not go to college.
I never learned how to read.
I did ACSATs. That's a whole separate thing.
Yeah.
Mike says Sanders is more NFL ready, but Cam could use some development, but think Ward would do better than Sanders long term. Exactly. 100%, man. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
I think the same thing. I think give it some time and Cam Ward will be the better. The rookie year, Sanders will have the better year, though. I'm calling it right now that.
Yeah, I think so.
Jay says, don't you think that Ward or Sanders don't you think that Ward or Sanders you would require different backups? No. I don't think that at all. I really don't. I think what you need to learn as a young quarterback in this league is much more how to prepare, how to read defenses, things that transfer from quarterback to quarterback, no problem. Let's see. Jay says, Roberto's on ecstasy. He has spoken more than I've heard in 6 months.
I've posted a couple shows in 6 months.
Mike Joe says, I don't trust Cousins. That is going to be a very, very, very sad family reunion for you, Mike.
Yeah, right.
Jay says, what do you think about the whole black quarterback thing of the Giants? Listen, if they go ahead and purposely skip Ward and Sanders and go get Jaxson Dart or somebody in the second round, third round, then definitely adds validity to it. I don't want to ever put that on somebody. I don't know these people personally. I would really hope that's not there, but you can't say it's not. Because you have no proof either way. That's the problem. Mike says Russ is in too much decline, in my opinion. Exactly. Jason, are you joining Big Pat's network? Actually, we do have an announcement coming on that stuff shortly, but it's going to be a little bit for that. Jay says Russell Wilson is the most cringe NFL player today, even in the last 5 years. Yep. He said, if you're good, Steelers be moving heaven and earth to re-sign him. They'll re-sign Fields, I think, personally. I still think that. He says, I don't know how old you guys are, but he gives me the McNabb vibes after he got a huge contract and all of his teammates hated him. Is that Russell Wilson we're talking about? I wonder. Unfortunately, they're going backtracking. I don't know which one you were on there. Let's see here. And then Mike Jones says Fields. We got more booing. Again, Jay says if he was good, he wouldn't be 25 on his third team. Again, 35 and 25 on his third team. Darnold, you've never. And this is what the NFL does. You know that they see one team succeed at something, and they all try to repeat it. Does it mean they can all repeat it? No, but it means they will try. Geno Smith, we mentioned him in this whole thing. Another classic example. Sometimes it's just they went to bad scenarios. Sometimes they just weren't mature enough. Jason, how many good quarterbacks does it happen to? Jason says the same thing about you two. If there was a point in your career you couldn't turn around, it has to be here. He says looks great on Sports Center. Mike says QB whisper my butt. Only time Brian whippers is the Big Mac saying how bad he wants it. Jay says, yeah, we aren't the Steelers. Mike says, yeah, y'all want Stafford at $50 million if they went to that later on. Says, and Jason says they get out of last place in the NFC East. Some of these moves do potentially, but I don't know that. You got to realize the division we're into is part of the problem. I mean, when you literally are sitting here with, the Commanders and the Eagles there, how they played this last year, you don't know. I think we get even an average quarterback that we could easily beat out the Cowboys, depending on what goes on there. I think the Cowboys honestly might be the new seller of the NFC East. Again, depending on what we do at quarterback. More booing. He says our team is going nowhere fast. I mean, it's early on. Offseason hasn't begun yet. Mike Jones says, what do you guys think of Stafford cut package? That's a desperation move if we do it. Jason's great to see your speaking. Let's see. We're talking about the money thing already. Let's get here. Let's see. Jason's Roberto drives some Hyundais. I can tell he has a Hyundai accent. Actually, he does. Mike says, "I'll do it for 30, but with Cup." Are you saying 30 for Cup and Stafford? First off, if you want Cup, just wait. They're going to cut him. I'm telling you right now, they're going to cut him. Jay says, but to have a nice quarterback play would increase your channel views. Yeah, it definitely would. Let's be honest, guys. The Giants were playing better. It would definitely help. Mike says, I take Stafford for 3 years if we get Cam Ward. I wouldn't want that. I don't want to sit Cam Ward for 3 years. I think that's a little bit of wasting him personally. Jay says, when have we lost when we had good QB play? We had Eli. Some of those years weren't winners, you know? So let's see here. He says, T-Pay Way, what's up, fellas? What's up, man? Jay says, I watch your show. I would watch Talking Giants if I wanted some greater objective. You got to take a shot, right? I don't know what you mean by that part there. Andre says, yo, Drew, your Rob, good Wednesday. Would be good if we had Rodgers and our second pick or Stafford, but without 34 pick in the second round. My guy is Darius Alexander, defensive line, Toledo. Defensive line, there's a lot of good defensive linemen. A lot of good defensive linemen. So, like I said, you're going to have to just kind of see what happens there with these guys. I don't want anything to do at all with Rodgers. Peter wasn't even on the list because of that. Nothing to do with Rodgers. Stafford, again, depends on cost. And that's cost and trade, cost and contract. Mike Jones is a good show, fellas. Time for work. Appreciate it, man. Jason's desperation is a stinky clone with Fields. There's a lot of desperation that may happen this offseason. Trust me, I'm telling you, with Shane and Dable knowing their jobs on the line. Jay says, you ain't got no job. Nobody commenting on Giants podcast has employment. I think we all have jobs. I definitely have a job. Mike Jones says, LOL, Jay, I got a Giants podcast. See? It's just sent me the link. And I love that, first off. I love that Giants content creators get supported in our chat. Seriously, I do. Jay's on a lot of the stuff there. I see him all over the place. So, but like I said, I just like that because we should always support every Giants content creator, unless they're ones that are out for like BS at that point. You know what I mean? Like there's I'm not going to name specific names, but there's ones that just love to start trouble, and that's all they do. And that's what their whole thing is. Those ones I don't follow, but the rest of them, I support them all. Oh, we got Rob back. There he is.
I think going dog daddy dudes.
So let's see here.
And I do not drive a Hyundai accent. Who's making that up? I have a Mitsubishi.
Jay says, I liked Rob when he talked to us. And I was he's giving the definition.
Is that Webster?
Oh, Jay says, leave Rob alone. Oh my God. Mike Jones says 30 for just Stafford, but he wouldn't. Yeah, there's no way how he's doing that. Give the name. He got back from the taco shop. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and pay the bills real quick here, and then we're going to go into the rest of Giants news here we got going on for you guys.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And of course, as always, if you want to support the show, feel free to go ahead and send either a super chat through YouTube. You can do stars also on Facebook, or you also do the free one. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, tell a friend about the show, because point blank, we suck at marketing. Without y'all, we're pretty much got 5 listeners and that's it. So we're counting on you. It's like we're like the Smokey the Bear of the Giants podcasters here. Only you
could share out this podcast.
Only you can share podcasts.
Only you can hit the like and subscribe button.
Or anybody else watching. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
Anyway,
anyone that's watching, that's just pointed towards you.
Let's get you specifically and only you.
Yeah.
Let's get into the news here. So Jordan Raanan came out talking about Matt Stafford again here. And obviously, we've talked about in the show here today, Matt Stafford is like the talking point this offseason so far for the Giants, which is crazy when you have a third overall pick and you need a quarterback. I get it that Matt Stafford is a big name quarterback, but when you have a third overall pick, usually the thing is, what quarterback are you taking? Who will you take in the draft? Who's going to be the draft pick? Do you take a quarterback? What quarterback do you like? Instead, it's Matt Stafford. A little bit craziness, but it seems.
We alluded to earlier in the show, like that. The big talk's like you just have to do one or the other. Just do both.
Yeah, well, if you can keep the third overall pick, that's the problem. But ESPN's Jordan Raanan said in X, it's pretty clear after the couple of days in Indianapolis that the Giants' top priority at quarterback is Matthew Stafford. See what happens with him and the Rams and move on from there. Ooh.
Yeah, I got to pull up a comment over here. Sorry, that's the wrong one. I don't think the Rams are playing us, Jay. I think it's actually Shane playing some games, which Jay comes in here for everyone out there in podcast land. As you know, you guys are getting played by the Rams. I just want to say it's probably Shane shooting out his smoking magic and his double-sided ears, smoking. He's playing his games just like the Thibodeau thing that we've talked about. We definitely don't want this position. We definitely don't want that guy. He's terrible.
Here's the whole thing I'm going to point out here as far as why the Rams would do this. I've heard this in a couple people. Let's say hypothetically, you don't think you're going to win a ring with the current roster with the Rams, which I could see where they would think that, even though I think they probably play the Eagles better than anybody else in this entire playoffs. But let's say that's your thought process. You don't think that you're gonna get a ring with the current roster you have. If that's the case, and you could trade Matt Stafford, get some prospects for him, get some picks, then potentially have the assets to move up next year when there's a lot more better drafts, better quarterbacks, sorry. And you can get a guy like, let's say, Aaron Rodgers for a year or two. Is there that much of a drop-off between Stafford and Rodgers on the field? Now, off the field, it's a whole separate situation. I think there is because of the off the field. That's why I gave that. But do the Rams think that? The Rams think we can outsmart people, get some extra picks, and then still have a quarterback anyway.
Yeah, and when you talk about like Rodgers or Stafford, I definitely would take Matt Stafford hands down, because like Rodgers, he had a terrible Achilles injury. He comes back, like you can't really judge how he played last year because this crazy surgery he had. Like he didn't play his best. Is it because of the injury? Is it because he's 41? Is it because he's playing with the Jets? So you can say on the field, Matt Stafford is still a better quarterback.
I'm going to give you this. 2022, Rodgers last year with the Packers. 64.6 completion percentage, 3,695 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 91.1 QB rating. This past year with the Jets, 63%, 3,897 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 90.5 passer rating. So very similar stats. Again, stats. There's an eye test that's a difference. But you can sit there and say that Aaron Rodgers on the field was not the issue for the Jets. It was the off the field stuff that caused issues. Undermining the coach, not showing up, and literally planning a practice during mandatory workouts. I'm probably putting a vacation. We went to Egypt or something. I think he went to
Egypt.
Like
well, I'm saying, but like, how many of those yards was he throwing in garbage time because he's playing for the Jets compared to
that's why I'm Rams?
Saying. Compared to the Rams, who started off very slow and was in a lot of these games the better end all year long. I think the eye test, Stafford is like, you have to go with Matt Stafford.
Like I said, I would take him in a heartbeat, and it's because of what's upstairs above the neck. That's why I would. I don't know if the shrooms have messed Rodgers up or what, but there's been rumors that that's what they would do, is they would go get Rodgers. And I've heard it a couple places now. We talked about it the first time we heard it talked about, which was on Colin Cowherd, I think is the first one to bring it up, if I remember right. But that's you could see where the Rams could sit there and say we're building for the future while still keeping a somewhat lateral move at quarterback.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, and I guess I'm like Sean LeVay. Like, I could take that off the field stuff, like, and take it off the table when you talk about football. Do what you want to do in your personal life, just like anyone with a job. Like,
Yep.
Do what you want to do in your personal life. When you come to work, come to work. That's just, as long as you can do that, and that's what you're saying that Aaron Rodgers can do. I mean, I don't know. I just think he was playing a lot of garbage time.
Yeah. Like I said, this is why I think people will believe that there was a possibility because of that. And we'll see. Maybe that's wrong, but that's why I think the Rams are interested in potentially doing it, because they still think they can do something at quarterback. Now, from the Giants standpoint, it's all about Shane and Dable trying to save their jobs.
100%.
Point blank. Because if they had job security, there would not be a mention of Stafford. They're like, he's 37. Why the hell do we want him?
Yeah. All those miles on those legs.
But now, let's say you get Stafford, you sneak into the back end of the playoffs. Ooh, look, we won. We got to the playoffs.
Yeah. Look what we did with talent.
Yeah. That talent's old now and washed up like grains of sand, but it's
can't play for the future now.
No, and that's the problem right there. So, but that's one of the major issues, of course, going on with the Giants right now. And according to a latest poll of all the players, there's a lot more issues going on with the Giants than we may be aware of, because the players gave bad grades to the Giants. So, for y'all that may not be aware of this is what the NFL does every single year. It's like, at your own job, when you get that, here, sign this anonymous thing on SurveyMonkey and just go ahead and fill it out and, let everybody know what you think about the team, what we can do better.
But put your employee number right over here. It's not
yeah. We're just gonna grab your IP address, but they do this. But they do the same thing. The NFL Players Association gets one, and they grade the team that they're on based on a lot of things. And the ownership's grade, huge drop, guys. The Giants really ranked 8th overall in this poll last year, guys. 8th overall. We weren't elite at much last year, but we apparently were elite in what the players thought of the team. This year, the ownership's grade dropped from a B+ to a C+. Now, in perspective, if your kid that usually brings B+ comes home with a C+, you're probably taking away his iPhone or whatever thing they use nowadays. PS17.
Only 5 now. Come on now.
Whatever it is. This is from the report. Owner John Mayer's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is 7.73 out of 10 from the Giants players, are ranking 22nd out of 32 owners in the league. The players feel that their ownership is committed to building a competitive team, a rank of 21 out of 32 NFL owners. The players feel that Mayer moderately contributes to a positive team culture, a rank 22 out of 32. Yeah. That's an issue, guys.
Going from the top third to the bottom.
Yeah. Like, they say poop travels downhill. It's traveling right now. And they're seeing it.
Crappy the snowman.
Yeah. This is like cloudy with a chance of meatballs, but instead of meatballs, it's poop.
Yeah. Dung beetles.
And you can't blame people for looking at what's going on with Mara and Tish to a certain degree as well, because he's always been kind of absent, but he's been around a little more with the issues. You can't blame them for looking at this and saying, what the hell? And the biggest one for me, and I will keep on harping on this till it's over, till they finally, go ahead and do what they should do for player safety. Get some goddamn grass in the field. Stop with this turf. Because if you really cared about players, you would do it. It's a drop in the bucket for NFL teams to put grass on their turfs like that. And now for me or you, it'd be like, we're going bankrupt. We have to sell our home. Like, it'd be a lot of money. But it costs nothing. It costs nothing. And they can do it because you know what's going on for World Cup matches? grass.
Yep.
And that's what I think has really annoyed some of the players, is they've now saying that they can do it because they are doing it.
For El Soccer.
So
El Football.
Because the World Cup told them point blank, if there's no grass, we're not playing here. So that's a big thing for me. Now, as far as treatment of families was a big thing the Giants took a lot of pride in for a lot of time here. They earned just a C grade. They got a C minus for their locker room and a C plus for nutritionist diet. That's just a really poor showing. This is point blank what the team is doing. This has nothing to do with the winning, losing. And you got to wonder, is some of this potentially part of it? We've all worked for people we think didn't appreciate us. Let's be very frank.
Yeah.
And nobody works that hard when that happens, as they do when they're happy. I've said it before. There's no cap space. There's no cap on coaching staff, and they should just go out and buy whoever they have to buy coaching staff wise, develop the players, and you'll win your money back that way. You could sit there and say that about the facilities too. There's no cap space in the facilities, guys.
Not at all. Listen, and that facility makes the money. Like, I don't know how it works out with the Jets, but you're talking like the offsite facilities, like the New York Giants like logo itself is one of the biggest franchises in the NFL. They make their money.
It's everything though, because it's like even treatment of the families. Like, how much would it cost you to go ahead and take care of the families early? And I can tell you this, when we're sitting there on Hard Knocks going, let's throw this guy an extra $1 million. Let's throw that guy an extra $1 million. And then you're telling me you can't take care of the families? That's a WTF moment, guys.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you this. When I was at the Giants-Falcons game this year, there was a huge line of people signed up outside the stadium. Every single one of them decked out in Giants gear. And I said, because, listen, I'm not going to front. I was hustling at the game the whole entire time, handing out cards for the show with QR codes and all. And I was like, what's going on? Like, there's a lot of Giants fans here. They said, oh, we're family of the players. That's what I was told. And one of them, I swear, had to be Micah McFadden's brother. I don't know if he has a brother, but he looked just like him. He was like a doppelganger for him. But this is how the family was treated. Lined up, corralled, like waiting at a Black Friday sale.
We're going to get it for 40% off. We're going to get it for 40% off.
Now, that's an away game. So, Giants did not have control over everything in that scenario. But I can tell you, I've been to plenty of games before. I've never seen that at a game before in my life. Never. And I make a point when I go to a game, especially if it's a stadium I've never been to, since I tend to travel for a lot of games, like just being down here in Tampa. I make it a point to walk around the stadium, walk around the facility, see what's there. Because I may never go to that stadium again. I just want to check it out and see what there is. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I have never seen that before. So, like I said, I can see where the players might feel that way. Because I'm telling you right now, if my family is sitting there corralled in, like at a line for the bank when it first opens up, and the stock market just crashed, and we're like, it's a wonderful life kind of scene here.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what's going on here?
And your elderly grandma's sitting there stuck. Yeah. Trying to get into the third level.
Not cool. Now, on the positive side, the strength coaches earned an A negative, A minus. And we just got a new strength coach this past offseason. So that was his first year there. So at least that's a positive. We seem to have made a good hire. On Brian Dable, the report said 90% of Giants players feel their head coach is efficient with their time. Now, 90% sounds pretty good, right? That was ranked 22nd out of 32.
Womp.
They said the players feel Dable is moderately receptive to locker room feedback on the team's needs. Moderately. Yeah. Ranking him 22nd again out of 32 head coaches in the league. Now, keep in mind, how many coaches got fired this offseason? Like 8?
Yeah.
So this is saying that 1 out of every single 10 player doesn't feel like they're basically being heard in this locker room. Now, I don't know about y'all, but again, I have to use analogies for what we work and we do in our own lives. Every single job I've ever worked at, I'm not going to name any names, keep myself out of trouble. I keep my work and my podcasting stuff separately. But every single one you work at, and I'm sure we're all going to say the same thing, has that one person. That one person that causes a little tension. Doesn't quite go in line with everybody else is doing at that point there. Now, imagine if 1 out of every 10 was that person. Because, and I say this all the time, and I mean it when I say it that way. 9 times out of 10 when that happens, it's because someone in leadership got them to that point.
Usually, what's the old quote that what's it, 80 to 90% of the people quit their boss, not their job.
Yeah. And I truly do believe that. Now, some people take it a little too far, and some people will just a little cray, and it is what it is. But that tells you that 10% of this locker room is disconnected. That means, 5 or 6 people in that roster basically feel like they're unheard. They're not listened to.
Yeah.
That's an issue. And listen, it's not going to be something that medium coach are going to fix. It's not something that a pizza party is going to fix. But
best management trick, pizza parties.
They always. But something's got to get done here, guys. Because if you don't think that free agents are looking at this kind of thing, I would. Haven't you all been to Glassdoor when you're looking up a job? This is basically a very public and easy to find Glassdoor. That's much more reliable.
Yeah.
And that's not good. That's not good. So,
and even when you're not shopping, Glassdoor still going to send you that email of better jobs out there. So you might still take a look, even though you feel like you're content with your job you have. And some people are going to jump ship just because they got that opportunity.
Yeah.
So you may have some rookie guys that be like, oh, this isn't that bad. This is way better in college. And then go, oh, the Redskins have a better facility? Huh.
Yeah, which is pretty bad because Washington's been known for having crud forever. But they have an owner now that cares.
Yeah.
They have an owner willing to spend money. That's the difference. So, all right. Let's get to some happier news. Joe Shane gave us some injury updates there at the combine. So, like I said, we're gonna go over a little bit of that kind of stuff there because it's good to hear good news. We don't get to say that very often on a Giants podcast. So, first off, he says Dex is good. You saw him at the Pro Bowl, so this is the part that scares me. So yeah. I'm assuming he's good. I haven't seen him physically, but he played tug of war, so he looks good. What? That's a direct quote, guys. That's a direct quote. I haven't seen him physically, but he played tug of war, so he looks good.
And the best part is, editor just took out at the very end as Joe Shane eats his peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Peanut butter jelly sandwich, yeah. Like, seriously. As far as the rest of the injuries, he said Thomas looks phenomenal. No boot on the foot or anything. He's moving well. He looks humongous now, which, I'm sorry, he looks humongous now. He looked humongous always, but is he fat now? Is we missing something? He's been in the weight room. Actually, him, John Michael, Jimmy Morrissey, There were like 5 or 6 players there. Josh Azudu, offensive linemen that were just in there the other morning when I was in there. It's cool to see those guys hanging around and working together. So I guess that's good news. He's actually seen Andrew Thomas. Unlike Dexter Lawrence that he hears rumors about. I saw him play tug of war on TV. He's fine. Like, are you kidding me? Oh my God. Like, first off, why would you even say that? Like, I feel like half the time these guys say things stupid. I feel like this team needs to hire me to be in their ear and say, stop saying this kind of stupidity. Yeah. Like, he should have said, hey, you guys saw him at the Pro Bowl. He looked pretty good. Right. We're going to assess him next time he comes in. But that looked like he was doing pretty good.
Yeah, he looks good to me. We all saw him on TV.
I haven't seen him physically, but he played tug of war, so he looks good.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? Does no one prep him for, and this is a known interview he's going into, guys. It's a press conference that they do every single year when the combine starts. And you know how I know they prep him? Because it was on Hard Knocks last year, God damn it.
Yeah, we watched it.
Like, we watched them with the media team saying, these are the questions they're going to ask. These are the talking points. What the hell? That's the best you can come up with. Is I'm assuming he's good. I haven't seen it physically, but he played tug of war, so he looks good. Oh my God, the stupidity! Like it's good news that everybody looks good, and the guys are working out. And Andrew Thomas is not the boot, but Joe Shane, come on, seriously, is your job's on the line here, literally. I'm not even kidding, and that's the sad part. Alrighty, guys. One last bit of news I want to give you guys. And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit at the combine today. And this is a combine story here. There's a potential for a legacy giant. Kind of like the frat guys at Lambda from Revenge of the Nerds, when their dads gave them their braces and piano key suspenders and had them join Lambda later on. We have a chance for somebody who was a giant to have their son now become a giant. And that happens every year. Pretty much. It seems like there's always somebody who will go, oh, remember, he played for the Giants. His kid's now in the draft. But here's somebody at a position of need. That'll be later on in the draft. I think it's a legit possibility. Probability? No. Possibility? Yes. We're talking about Howard Cross III. Played defensive tackle at Notre Dame. He's 6 foot even, 275 pounds. And I got to say, when you look at him, he looks like a linebacker. He does not look like a defensive tackle. Does not at all, in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if we got to get him hanging out with Eddie Lacy. Like, I don't know what we got to do here.
To the Golden Corral.
Yeah, you got to go to the Golden Corral multiple times. But, yeah, 13 games this year, 28 tackles, 4 sacks. 1 pass deflected. And his tackles were like down to like half what they were the prior year, guys. But what his big thing has been the sacks and the pressure that he puts on the quarterback. That's what he's been known for in Notre Dame. About being possibly being a giant, he says it's just like a legacy thing. I think it'd be kind of cool. I would definitely be cracking jokes and stuff like that. If I ever got the chance, I think it'd be really cool. I'm not going to lie to you. Then he said, I can't be in a Giants household and start rooting for the Eagles. If I said the word Jets, I would have gotten kicked out. But it's also Jersey. Jersey's a small area. It's either the blue or the green. So I was in a blue area. Solidly Giant stuff everywhere you go. I was indoctrinated with the Giants. I think that's kind of interesting because he says the area indoctrinated him. Like, not your dad who played like top 5 most games ever played as a Giant. Like, Howard Cross was like a New York Giant for like 40 years, it felt like.
Definitely seemed that way.
Like, he was there for the Big Blue Wrecking Crew part, the very tail end of that, and was there all the way to the end. All the way to the end with the 1 Super Bowl we lost to the Ravens. That's the kind of stretch he had. So, yeah, like I said, I find it hard to believe that his dad wouldn't have been ticked off as anything if he wasn't a Giants fan. On what he can do in the NFL, he said, I've told teams, and I'll tell everybody, I will do any position that helps the team win. I want to be great at whatever position it is. If that's being a shield on punt, I'll be an all-pro on shields. That's the mindset I have. So versatility, I feel like I can do anything. He says, I'm not going to have the same game as Dexter Lawrence or someone like that. I have a different thing going on. It's speed and versatility and skill. That's my kind of thing. And he says, I'm a nerd, so I look at it like Superman and Batman. Batman doesn't have a lot of powers. He doesn't do a lot of stuff, but he knows how to get around people. I am a film guru. I sit down and I watch film for an extremely long period of time, maybe longer than I should, but I look and I read and I do everything I can to make sure I do everything I can to beat you. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence is probably one of the strongest people in the league, so I think I would complement that well. Yeah, first off, I don't think we're getting him to be a starter if we get him. I think he's going to be a very like a day 3 kind of guy. I mean, who knows? Maybe he shocks us and he comes into camp or whatever. I mean, Elijah Chapman got a lot of playing time this year. He wasn't even drafted. You never know.
Yeah,
but I don't think you draft him as like, this is the guy to put next to Dexter Lawrence. That's probably not the plan. Like I said, I like the idea of a legacy pick. I do. I like the idea of it. It could be kind of cool to see another cross out there. It's a shame we couldn't give number 87. If only he was a tight end as well. If only he was a tight end. Switch positions. He said do anything. He said do anything. All righty, guys. Well, that's going to call it a night for us here. Appreciate you guys for coming on today. A lot of comments here. Appreciate you guys for doing that as well. Always love it. We get a nice little back and forth going with not just ourselves, but with y'all as well. So, again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll be on again for you guys tomorrow night, again, 9 p.m. Eastern time as always. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, Twitch, and
profile.
Oh, yeah, my LinkedIn profile. And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. That's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So if you guys haven't already, do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. And like I said, follow us on all the different platforms you use, because the nice thing is you'll definitely know whenever we're live if you hit them all. And if you like the audio stuff, it'll automatically download it, so you don't have to deal with that spotty issues of Wi-Fi there if you're driving to work through like a bridge or like a rural area or something like that. I don't know. I drive a bridge. I get a little spotty area. That's the problem living on Tampa Bay and working on one side of the bay and living on the other. Those long bridges to go over. It's like 12 miles bridges.
Ridiculous. I was going through the Lincoln Tunnel today.
And you probably lost signal. Lost signal probably, right? Yeah. Don't lose signal if you get the thing downloaded. Just saying. 100%. Hit the download buttons. So, all right, guys. So, again, we'll be back again tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys for watching, as always. And, again, appreciate you all for commenting. And if you're not watching live, guys, give us your thoughts afterwards. We're more than happy to see comments afterwards. I'll admit we are a little slow, unfortunately, to comment back sometimes on post ones there, because Rob and I both just work insane, ridiculous hours. But still, we appreciate you guys either way. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. As always, Giants fans, go Giants!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.